How far would you go to save the person you love, even if it meant becoming something unrecognizable? When Elena discovers a horrifying government experiment that blurs the line between human and monster, she's forced to make an unthinkable choice. Her desperate fight to protect Nathan and uncover the truth leads her into a nightmarish world of twisted science, betrayal, and heartbreaking sacrifice. This is a story about love pushed to its darkest limits and the terrifying price of survival. Are you ready to step into the shadows with her? Elena had always believed the cold was just a sensation, a passing discomfort you could shake off with a hot shower or a thick blanket. But standing on the edge of that frozen lake, the cold felt alive, like a predator, invisible yet clawing at her skin, sinking its fangs into her bones. She tightened her grip on the rope, her gloved fingers trembling as she glanced over her shoulder. The chopper that had dropped her off was a distant shadow now, a faint echo swallowed by the endless white horizon. She was alone. Exactly the way she wanted it. Exactly the way she had convinced herself she needed it. Her breath rose in short, ragged clouds, and she could almost see the words she'd been rehearsing since Montreal. I have to do this. For my father. For the truth. But out here, those words sounded brittle and naive. She knelt beside the small hole she had drilled through the ice the day before. Her equipment, a hybrid of delicate scientific instruments and rugged survival gear, stood like fragile sentinels against the wind. She lowered a sonar drone into the abyss, the cable humming with tension as it disappeared into the inky depths. The screen flickered, revealing dark shapes moving beneath the ice. Shapes that made no biological sense. Her father had warned her. Before he vanished into these same woods 15 years ago, he had raved about something beneath the lake. Everyone said he lost his mind, rambling about whispers in the ice and a living consciousness watching from below. Elena had been just 14, hiding under the staircase, listening to her father's desperate, frostbitten voice. The memory haunted her, gnawed at her every time she saw a frozen pond or heard the crackle of ice in a glass. She wiped her forehead with the back of her sleeve. Her face burned where the wind had torn open her skin. "Damn it, focus," she muttered. She checked the battery levels on the drone again, then peered into the hole. Black, bottomless, like a pupil staring right back at her. Suddenly, the sonar pinged. A massive, undulating, appeared on the screen. Her heart jackhammered in her chest. She felt the hairs on her neck stand up as if something were reaching up, ready to pull her down. "It's real! My God, it's real!" She couldn't help but laugh, a sharp, unhinged sound that echoed off the ice. All these years, all the funding denials, the professors who'd called her the frostbitten girl, the articles that labeled her research as myth-chasing pseudoscience, all of them were wrong. Her father wasn't mad. He was right. A sudden gust slammed into her back, nearly knocking her over. She scrambled to secure the drone as the wind howled through the trees lining the distant shore. It almost sounded like voices, thin, wheeling, weaving between the pines. She glanced up sharply, her father's voice. She could swear she heard him. "Elena." She froze, her lips parted, her throat went dry. "Dad?" she whispered, barely audible even to herself. Another gust swept across the lake, and again the voice came. "Elena, come home." Her mind flooded with memories. Her father's frostbitten fingers gripping the doorframe, her mother's desperate sobs, the white sheets covering his empty hospital bed after the final search mission. She squeezed her eyes shut. "It's just the wind, it's just the wind, focus." But the voice wouldn't stop. It wrapped around her mind like ice climbing up a window pane, cold and unstoppable. She shivered, not from the wind, but from something deeper, a primal terror echoing inside her bones. She glanced at the sonar feed again. The shape was closer now, almost touching the ice. The data was perfect, more than she ever dared hope for, but it felt wrong, violating, like she had opened a door that should have stayed locked forever. Elena stumbled backward, nearly slipping on the ice. She looked at the drone cable, the fragile lifeline between her and the abyss, and felt a sudden urge to cut it, to run. But run where? There was no shelter here, no safe place, just miles of nothingness and the whisper of old, frozen gods beneath her feet. She pressed her palm to the ice as if to reassure herself it was solid, but something pulsed beneath it, a gentle, slow heartbeat. She jerked her hand away. Her breath caught in her throat. It wasn't just a lake, it was alive. I can't leave now, she thought. This is what I came for. This is my father's legacy. She took a deep breath, forced her shaking legs to steady. She reattached the data transmitter to her pack and switched the video feed to recording mode. She forced herself to speak, for the record, for the world. If she ever made it back. My name is Elena Vasilyev, she began, her voice trembling and fragile in the frozen air. This is day 1 of the ice abyss descent. I have visual confirmation of something beneath the ice shelf. The mass appears sentient and possibly mobile. Preliminary sonar data confirms it is at least 200 meters wide. I believe it may be the organism my father reported before his disappearance. Her voice faltered as the sonar ping grew faster. She swallowed. I will attempt closer sampling tomorrow, weather permitting, she continued, but the words felt hollow, absurd. She wanted to scream, to run, to call someone, anyone, but she was alone. That had been the plan. The sonar screen went black. Her hands flew to the controls. No, 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 she whispered. The power indicator flashed red. Suddenly, the ice beneath her creaked. A low, seismic groan rolled out from under her knees, like a living thing stretching after centuries of sleep. She scrambled backward, eyes wide, and watched as a thin spiderweb of cracks crawled toward her. A shape, massive, shadowy, rippled beneath the ice, following her movements. She felt the ground shift, like something was breathing just beneath her. She clawed at the snow, dragging herself away from the growing fracture. In that moment, she understood every ragged scream her father had ever made, every frantic warning no one believed. The ice heaved once more, then settled. Silence returned, as if nothing had happened. Only her ragged breathing broke the stillness. She stared at the hole, the cables, the equipment, her entire career laid bare and pointless on the ice. Tears blurred her vision. She wiped them away angrily, her breath coming in sharp, painful gasps. Her father's voice drifted to her again. Come home, Elena. She stood up slowly, the taste of blood in her mouth from where she'd bitten her lip. She turned in a slow circle, scanning the endless white nothingness. In that moment, she knew she was no longer the hunter. She was the hunted. She clenched her fists, her nails biting into her palms. I won't leave. Not now, not ever, she whispered to the ice. The lake answered with a deep, resonant crack, a sound that echoed across the frozen wilderness like a war drum, and beneath her the darkness stirred. The next morning, the horizon was a pale bruise of violet and pink, a deceptive softness that made the lake almost look gentle. But Elena knew better. She hadn't slept. Instead, she sat against her tent pole all night, eyes wide, her mind replaying the cracks in the ice, the sonar images, her father's ghostly voice. Every hour she checked her equipment, half expecting to see that shadow again, coiled just beneath her feet. She forced herself to eat a frozen protein bar, each bite a fight against nausea. She watched the sun struggle to rise through the smothering gray sky, her body trembling as if her bones had turned to glass. Elena zipped up her heavy jacket, her breath turning to fog as she stepped outside. The lake had an unnatural stillness today. No creaks, no wind, no whispers. Just a suffocating silence that pressed down on her skull like a vice. She made her way to the main station point near the ice hole. The sonar drone lay on its side, frost clawing up its metal body. She brushed off the ice with a gloved hand and examined the cable. Severed. As if something had bitten straight through it during the night. She cursed under her breath, her heart hammering. She ran her fingers along the torn edge. The cut was too clean for natural wear, too jagged to be from the cold. A cold realization slithered into her mind. Something had been up here. She checked the footage stored on her tablet. Her fingers moved too fast, desperate. But the file was corrupted, screen flickering into static. No evidence left. No record. only her memory screaming in her head. A gust of wind finally rose, scattering snow across the surface like white ashes. She looked up, and for a moment she thought she saw a figure out by the tree line. Tall, thin, draped in shadows. Her father? She stumbled forward, squinting into the gray, but the figure was gone. Her breath caught, throat burning from the freezing air. She felt her chest cave inward, like her heart was folding in on itself. "Pull yourself together, Elena," she hissed, but the words felt thin, empty, a lie she no longer believed. She returned to the tent and unrolled her father's old journal. Pages were stained, corners curled from years of dampness and frost. She traced his frantic handwriting. "The lake is breathing. The ice is only a lid. They are watching. Don't listen to the voices." Her fingers trembled violently. It was more than just paranoia. He had seen what she was seeing now, maybe even more. She flipped to a sketch. A grotesque serpentine figure twisting beneath broken ice, 100 pale eyes peering upward. The caption beneath it read, "They are never truly asleep." A noise cut through the silence, a soft scratching, like claws on glass. Elena whipped around. The tent flap fluttered slightly, but nothing else moved. She felt something shift deep inside her, an instinct screaming for her to run. But run where? The nearest outpost was days away on foot. Her radio was already frozen over, the battery drained during the night. She looked at the ice again. It called to her, not with words, but with an invisible hand pulling at her ribs, at her thoughts. A compulsion, gentle at first, but growing stronger by the second. She staggered outside, each step heavy as if she were wading through tar. The wind cut at her face like razors. She dropped to her knees beside the ice hole, peering into the abyss. It stared back. There was a shape now, larger than before, rising like a slow, impossible tide. The surface of the ice quivered. She pressed her hand to the edge, her breath echoing in the hollow space inside her helmet. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through her teeth. It felt like a voice, though she couldn't understand the words. It wasn't language in any human sense, more like a deep, cosmic moan, the sound of a universe exhaling. Her father's voice rose above it all. "Elena, come home. Join us." She shook her head violently. "No!" she screamed, her voice cracking. Tears froze instantly on her cheeks. Suddenly, the ice below her exploded in a web of cracks, radiating outward like lightning bolts. She fell backward, her head hitting the frozen surface with a sickening thud. Dazed, she watched as a towering column of water and black shapes surged upward. From that churning pillar emerged tendrils, long, transparent, shimmering like oil in moonlight. They lashed and twisted, reaching for her. She scrambled backward, clawing at the ice. One tendril struck her leg, sending an electric jolt up her spine. She screamed again, a wild animal sound. The shape below the ice shifted. She saw something like an eye, the size of her entire body, opening and closing with each slow breath. Elena's mind fractured. Images slammed into her consciousness. Visions of her father, his face twisted into something no longer human. Entire forests drowning beneath frozen waves. A black star pulsing above an endless sea of ice. She felt her sanity slipping, as though it were ice shavings in a gust of wind. She crawled away, dragging her injured leg. The tendrils thrashed and hissed behind her. One of them slammed down where she had been seconds earlier, splitting the ice into jagged shards. She scrambled to her tent, tearing open the flap, grabbing at her father's journal and the last 2 data drives. She shoved them into her pack with shaking hands. As she zipped it shut, another crack boomed across the lake, louder than thunder. She knew the whole sheet could collapse any second. Her eyes darted to the tree line. The figure was there again, closer now, motionless, watching. She hesitated, then forced herself to stand. Pain shot up her leg, but she gritted her teeth and limped forward. "Dad," she cried, her voice raw and strangled. The figure didn't move. The tendrils screamed behind her, a chorus of monstrous shrieks echoing across the frozen expanse. Elena stumbled into the woods, branches tearing at her face and clothes. The wind howled, 1,000 voices shrieking her name, urging her to turn back, to surrender to the ice. She kept running, Or maybe it was falling. She couldn't tell anymore. Blood dripped from her hands, each drop a dark flower on the snow. She clutched the journal to her chest. Her father's last words burned into her mind. Don't listen to the voices. Don't become one of them. Somewhere deep inside her, a faint ember of resolve flickered. She wasn't ready to vanish into the abyss. Not yet. As the black star pulsed in her mind's eye, she screamed into the howling wind, a single defiant cry swallowed by the vast, indifferent Arctic sky. Elena's world had become a screaming blur of snow, blood, and phantoms. Branches whipped her face as she tore through the tree line, leaving behind a trail of red smears against the pale bark. Her injured leg dragged at every step, each nerve ending screaming like a hot wire pressed to her skin. Behind her, the lake shrieked, a chorus of impossible, gurgling roars echoing across the ice. The tendrils, those translucent, alien limbs, thrashed above the water, reaching skyward like a forest of ghostly fingers. She didn't dare look back. Every instinct screamed that if she did, she would lose the last thread of her sanity. Her breath came in ragged bursts, each one a white cloud torn apart by the wind. She staggered through deep snow, her mind flashing between images of her father's face and that monstrous eye staring up at her from beneath the ice. He warned me. He begged me to stay away. But the need to prove herself had been too strong. Stronger than love, stronger than fear. And now she was paying for it with every burning pulse in her veins. A sudden cracking sound boomed behind her, not the brittle snap of ice, but something deeper, like the earth itself had split open. A shockwave rippled through the ground, knocking her to her knees. She clawed at the snow, forcing herself upright. Her pack felt impossibly heavy now, the journal pressing into her back like a hot brand. She thought she heard whispers drifting between the pines, words she didn't understand but that coiled around her skull, tightening. "Shut up, shut up, shut up!" she shrieked, slapping her ears as if to crush the voices. The forest swallowed her. Black spruces loomed like ancient sentinels, their branches clawing at the gray sky. Snow fell in heavy clumps, muffling her movements, as if the whole world was conspiring to smother her. Through the swirl of snow, she saw movement, that figure again, standing beneath a twisted birch, almost human, but wrong. Its limbs too long, its silhouette wavered as if underwater. "Dad?" Her voice was barely a whisper, more a question than a plea. The figure tilted its head, and for a moment she could almost see his eyes, empty holes, endless as the lake below. "No," she rasped, stumbling backward. It didn't follow. It simply watched, a witness, a lure. She turned and ran, adrenaline slicing through the fog in her mind. Each step felt like a small miracle, her body somehow obeying even as it shuddered with exhaustion. She didn't know how far she had gone before she reached the old observation cabin. It stood hunched beneath a drift of snow, half swallowed by the woods. Her father used it as a waypoint, she remembered, a place to rest. Elena flung open the door and collapsed inside, slamming it shut behind her. She pressed her back against it, heart slamming so hard she thought it might break her ribs. The inside smelled of mildew and old sweat, the air so stale she nearly gagged. Frost spiderwebbed across the single window, distorting the world outside into a ghostly smear. She crawled toward a metal cot, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Her leg was an angry, swollen mess, blood soaking through her thermal pants. She fumbled with her pack, pulling out the journal and the data drives. She laid them in front of her like talismans, desperate to anchor herself to something real. Her fingers found the last flare in her emergency kit. She almost laughed, a small, pathetic flame against a darkness so immense. But it was all she had. She struck it, and a harsh red glow filled the room. Shadows leapt across the walls, transforming the cabin into a living, breathing thing. For the first time in hours, she let herself sob, violent, body-racking sobs that spilled everything she had been holding in. The fear, the guilt, the crushing loneliness. Through her tears, she looked down at the journal. One page had come loose, curling at the edges. She turned it over, in her father's scrawled handwriting. "If you see them in the trees, it's too late. They are already inside you." She felt her breath catch, her vision tunneling. inside her. She touched her forehead. A throbbing ache pulsed just beneath the skin, spreading like a spiderweb of heat. Her nose began to bleed, a slow red drip staining the floorboards. No, no, no. She pressed the page to her chest, rocking back and forth. Outside, the whispers grew louder, like 100 people murmuring just beyond the door, their voices overlapping into a nightmarish chant. She crawled to the window, her movements jerky, uncoordinated. She wiped the frost with a trembling hand and peered outside. Shapes moved between the trees, dozens of them. Slender, swaying silhouettes, their eyes glinting with an unnatural light. She felt a sharp, searing pain in her skull. She collapsed, clutching her head, the journal crumpling in her fist. In the burning depths of her mind, she saw the lake again, the black star overhead, the tendrils rising, her father's twisted face merging with the shadows. She realized with a sudden clarity that felt like a knife that the real threat had never just been the creature below the ice. It was the echo it left behind, a seed, a thought, an infection that took root in the mind and bloomed like frost. The whispers had become a single word now, repeating in an endless loop. Join. Alina screamed. She stumbled back toward the cot, her fingers clawing at her temples as if she could dig the infection out by force. Blood streamed down her face, blurring her vision into a crimson haze. The door creaked. She froze. A long, pale hand slid around the edge of the doorframe, followed by a head that tilted unnaturally, as if it were studying her. Its eyes glowed, bottomless and hungry. Elena's scream rose again, high and raw, echoing through the cabin and into the endless night. Elena's scream cut through the night like a flare, raw and animal. The thing in the doorway paused, head tilting in a slow, almost curious gesture, as if savoring her fear. She scrambled backward, her palms slipping in her own blood on the floor. Every nerve in her body roared at her to run, to claw her way out through the wall if she had to. But her legs refused. They spasmed and twitched beneath her, useless and heavy as stone. The creature slipped fully into the cabin. It moved with an unsettling grace, each limb bending a fraction too far, as if its joints were strung on puppet wire. It ducked under the low beam, its shoulders brushing frost from the doorframe. She could see it clearly now. Its skin was translucent, veins pulsing beneath like rivers of ink. Its face, its face was a mirror of her father's, only stretched, warped, as though someone had tried to sculpt him from melting wax. Dad, she whimpered, her voice cracking into a child's sob. Please, please don't. The thing's head jerked sharply, and its mouth opened, but instead of words, a thick, rattling hiss spilled out, a sound like ice breaking underfoot. Alina pressed herself against the wall, fingernails digging into the wood until they split and bled. The journal lay beside her, its pages flapping as though caught in an invisible wind. The creature stepped closer, its gaze fixed on her, unblinking, black eyes reflecting her every movement. Suddenly, it lunged. She barely managed to throw herself sideways as its hand crashed into the cot, splintering the metal like dry twigs. She screamed, rolling across the floor, slamming into the far wall. Pain flared through her leg and ribs, a hot, blinding surge that stole her breath. Alina grabbed the flare she dropped earlier, the last pathetic weapon she had. She struck it again and again, sparks flying, until it roared to life in a fierce red blaze. The creature hesitated. It recoiled slightly, hissing louder now, its fingers curling into claws. "Stay back!" she shrieked, thrusting the flare forward like a sword. Her voice cracked and echoed against the thin cabin walls. The red glow painted the thing's face, revealing the grotesque stretch of flesh, the veins twitching beneath its skin like worms. Its eyes locked on the flare, and for one heart-stopping moment, she saw something in them. Fear? Recognition? Then it charged. Elena staggered toward the window, shoving the flare into the creature's path. It shrieked, a sound so sharp it felt like needles stabbing her eardrums. She turned and threw herself at the frosted glass, shattering it in a spray of icy shards. The cold outside hit her like a fist. She tumbled into the snow, gasping, shards of glass slicing into her arms and shoulders. The forest loomed around her, endless and indifferent, each tree a black blade against the white night. Behind her, the cabin shuddered as the creature crashed through, splinters flying. It burst out after her, movements jerky and inhuman, the broken doorway framing its warped silhouette like a nightmare portrait. She forced herself to her feet. Her leg buckled, but she didn't stop. She half ran, half crawled into the darkness, the flare still sputtering in her fist. The snow swallowed her steps. Each breath was a dagger in her lungs, each heartbeat a countdown. Branches lashed at her face. She stumbled through the underbrush, her mind a blur of panic and half-formed prayers. Somewhere behind her, she heard the thing crashing through the trees. Its screech rose and fell, echoing off the frozen trunks, a cruel lullaby that wormed into her skull. Move, don't stop, don't think. She found herself at the edge of a frozen stream, its surface a smooth black mirror reflecting the pale stars above. Without hesitating, she stumbled onto it, the ice groaning under her weight. Halfway across, she heard it, that high-pitched, rattling hiss. She turned. It stood at the bank, head low, its arms dangling like a marionette's. Its eyes glowed faintly, tiny lanterns in the night. Elena raised the flare again, her hand trembling so violently she thought she'd drop it. The creature stepped onto the ice. The sheet beneath her feet cracked, a spider web of fractures spiraling outward. She felt it give way, water seeping up between the cracks like black blood. "Come on," she whispered, tears freezing to her cheeks. "Come on!" She hurled the flare at its feet. The creature shrieked, stumbling backward as the flare hissed and sizzled, burning red against the ice. It slipped, arms flailing, and crashed onto the frozen surface. The ice groaned louder, then split open beneath it with a deafening crack. The creature plunged into the black water, thrashing wildly, its warped face vanishing beneath the shards of ice. Elena fell to her knees. The cold gnawed at her bones, the river of pain surging up her spine. She pressed her palms to the ice, gasping, her breath rising in frantic clouds. She stared at the hole where the creature had gone under. Silence swallowed the forest, a heavy, suffocating quiet. Then, from below, she saw movement. Bubbles, a pale shape rising. "No!" she rasped, crawling backward. A hand burst from the hole, clawing at the edge, and then another. Elena turned and crawled, dragging herself toward the bank. Each movement felt impossible, her body little more than a sack of torn nerves. The thing was coming. She could hear its guttural hiss, feel its gaze on the back of her neck. She reached the snow and collapsed, her hands scrabbling for anything, a branch, a rock, a weapon, but the snow offered only cold emptiness. The creature pulled itself from the water, soaked and steaming, its flesh steaming in the cold air. It crawled forward, eyes locked on her. She forced herself upright, legs shaking, her vision black at the edges. She screamed, a long, tearing wail that rose into the treetops and vanished into the starlit sky. Then she turned and ran once more, deeper into the dark, toward the unseen heart of the forest. Elena's feet pounded through the forest, the snow swallowing her steps and muffling her ragged sobs. Every muscle screamed, but she didn't dare stop. Behind her, she could still hear it, that guttural hiss, the sickening slap of wet limbs dragging over snow and earth. The trees closed in around her like twisted prison bars. Branches clawed at her hair, tore her cheeks, snagged at her coat. Each time she stumbled, she felt the creature's presence clawing at her spine, an invisible hook, pulling her backward toward that yawning darkness. She burst into a small clearing, moonlight pouring down like a pale, merciless spotlight. Her breath shuddered in the cold air, a frantic cloud rising and breaking apart. Somewhere in her panicked mind, a single thought sparked: the old ranger tower. She'd seen it once, during a summer hike with her father. Back then, it had seemed like a haunted monument, its wooden stairs eaten by rot and time. But now, Now it might be her only chance. She turned, scanning the tree line. Her ears caught that awful hiss again, closer now, echoing between the trunks. She forced her legs forward, slipping and sliding across the frozen earth. Each step felt like dragging cinder blocks. Her lungs felt scorched from the inside. Finally, she saw it, a silhouette against the stars, the skeletal outline of the tower clawing at the night sky. She lurched forward, half crawling up the snow-covered slope. The tower's base was a mess of broken boards and old nails. But she didn't care. She squeezed through a gap, splinters tearing at her arms. Inside, the air stank of mold and decaying leaves. A rotted staircase spiraled upward, each step a risky bet. But she had no choice. She scrambled up, gripping the rail so hard her knuckles split. Boards groaned beneath her weight, threatening to collapse at every heartbeat. Halfway up, a crash echoed below. She looked down, and there it was, forcing itself into the base, shoulders heaving, that mockery of her father's face stretching into a snarl. She kept climbing. Her vision tunneled, the edges going dark as adrenaline devoured every drop of strength left. When she reached the top, she slammed the trapdoor shut and dragged a heavy plank across it. Her chest convulsed with sobs. The small platform at the summit rocked under her trembling weight. She pressed her back against the railing, scanning the forest below. Her breath came in ragged gasps, each inhale sharp enough to cut. For a moment, a single fragile moment, she allowed herself to hope. Then the trapdoor shuddered. A guttural hiss rose beneath her, reverberating through the wood. She grabbed a rusted metal rod lying on the floor, brandishing it like a spear. The door exploded upward. A clawed hand shot through, gripping the edge. Then the creature's face rose, twisted and dripping, eyes boring into hers with inhuman hunger. Elena swung the rod with all the strength she had left. Metal collided with bone. A wet crunch filled the air. The creature reeled, hissing and spitting dark fluid. But it didn't fall. It pulled itself higher, claws shredding the rotted wood, each movement jerky and insect-like. Elena backed to the railing, her heels slipping on the frost-coated boards. She looked down, a 20-foot drop into snow and twisted roots. She glanced at the rod in her hands, then at the thing clawing toward her. There was no way out. You survived this long. You can't stop now. She screamed, lunging forward, driving the rod into its face again. The creature shrieked, flailing one arm toward her. It caught her shoulder, claws digging in deep. Pain exploded through her body. She staggered backward. The railing cracked under her weight. The world tilted. Time seemed to freeze, moonlight shining like a blade across the snow. The creature's warped face looming above, her own heartbeat roaring louder than any storm. Then the railing gave way. She plunged into the air. Branches snapped past her, ice and bark slashing her skin. She landed hard, the world blooming in white agony. Something in her leg gave a sickening snap. A howl tore from her throat. Above, the creature shrieked, then began clambering down the tower's supports with an unnatural speed. Elena rolled, dragging herself across the snow. Her vision pulsed, flickering in and out. Each breath felt like swallowing fire. A flicker of red light caught her eye, the flare she had dropped earlier still smoldering weakly a few yards away. She clawed toward it, each drag of her body leaving a streak of blood in the snow. Her fingers closed around the cold metal cylinder. She turned. The creature lunged from the tower, crashing into the snow just feet from her. With trembling hands, she struck the flare. Sparks flew once, twice, then a blazing red flame erupted, painting the world in violent color. She shoved it into the creature's chest. It roared, an inhuman echoing scream that cracked the silent forest. Its body convulsed, arms flailing, dark fluid spilling across her hands. Elena pushed harder, her scream merging with its. Heat and stench overwhelmed her sense, her mind fracturing under the raw violence of the moment. Finally, the creature lurched backward. It stumbled, clutching at the flare, the red light burning through its translucent flesh. It collapsed into the snow, writhing. Elena fell to her side, gasping, her fingers still curled in a death grip around the empty air where the flare had been. She watched as the creature convulsed one last time, then fell still. Steam rose from its body, twisting into the night sky like a dark spirit finally released. Silence returned, thick and heavy. Elena lay there, every nerve raw, her breath coming in shuddering, uneven bursts. Somewhere in the dark, an owl called, a lonely, haunting echo that seemed to acknowledge her survival. She forced herself to sit up, her vision swimming. The creature's remains smoked quietly in the moonlight, a grotesque monument to the nightmare she had survived. Elena didn't feel victorious. She felt hollow. She looked up at the stars, her face streaked with tears and blood. Somewhere deep inside, a realization unfurled. Nothing would ever be the same again. Not for her, not for the forest. She closed her eyes and let out a single ragged breath. It was over. Or so she thought. Elena dragged herself away from the smoldering remains. Each inch felt like moving through a pool of molten lead. Her broken leg refused to support her, so she crawled, clawing at the frozen ground. She didn't know where she was going. All she knew was she had to move. If she stopped now, if she let the cold or the pain win, everything, her father's memory, her own fight, would vanish like a breath in winter air. The night pressed in on her from all sides. Moonlight flickered through the trees in dizzy, broken patterns. Snowflakes drifted downward, melting the instant they touched her burning skin. She shivered uncontrollably. Her fingers were numb, but she forced them to dig forward, one clawed fist at a time. Somewhere in the distance, a low groan rose from the forest floor. She froze. Her pulse pounded so violently she thought her ribs would crack. She turned her head, eyes straining into the shadows. For a moment, all she saw were twisted pines and jagged stumps jutting out of the snow like broken teeth. Then she saw it. A figure, tall, broad, hunched at the shoulders. It stood at the edge of the clearing, its eyes reflecting moonlight like shards of shattered mirrors. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figure stepped forward. Snow crunched beneath its feet. In the pale light, she saw the outline of its face, a grotesque echo of her father's features, skin stretched tight, jaw hanging at an unnatural angle. Elena's stomach convulsed. Her mind threatened to split open. It can't be. I burned it. But the thing kept coming, one slow, deliberate step at a time. She pressed her palms into the snow, dragging herself backward, her breathing ragged and shallow. Her heart felt like a wild animal, battering her ribs. Behind her, she heard the faint gurgle of running water, the stream. If she could just get there, maybe the current would wash her away, or maybe she could lose it in the water's roar. She turned, clawing toward the sound. Her injured leg trailed behind like a dead branch. Branches whipped her face, slicing her cheeks into ribbons. Her breath steamed in frantic puffs. Every nerve screamed for her to stop, but she didn't. Finally, she broke through a stand of frostbitten birches and saw the stream, dark and fast, churning with broken ice. She didn't hesitate. With a hoarse scream, she plunged into the freezing water. The current seized her instantly, pulling her under. Pain swallowed her whole. Her lungs screamed as the shock ripped through her like electricity. She surfaced, gasping, clawing at chunks of ice. The water tore at her wounds, the cold almost holy in its cruelty. Above her, the creature roared, a sound so guttural and raw it didn't belong in this world. She saw it lurch to the bank, arms flailing, unwilling to enter the water. She let the current drag her. Downstream, the world blurred into a chaotic swirl of moonlight and shadows. Her fingers clutched at anything, rocks, roots, broken branches. Finally, she snagged a submerged log and managed to pull herself halfway out of the torrent. She collapsed on the muddy bank, hacking up mouthfuls of icy water. For a few precious seconds, she lay there, unable to move. Her teeth clattered so hard she thought they would shatter. Then, somewhere above, she heard a new sound, a distant, rhythmic thumping. Headlights. She forced her swollen eyes open. Across the snowfield, she saw a faint orange glow, a ranger's snowcat vehicle, its headlights sweeping the tree line. Her pulse spiked. Her entire body convulsed in a new surge of desperate energy. She tried to stand, but her leg buckled. So she crawled, screaming with each pull, dragging her mangled body toward the lights. The sound of the engine grew closer, and with it, the faint crackle of a radio. "Dispatch, this is Unit 4. I think I see something down by the creek," Elena coughed, sputtering blood and water. She raised one shaking arm, waving frantically. The snowcat turned, headlights slicing through the dark. A figure jumped out, a ranger in a thick winter jacket, face hidden behind a frosted mask. Hey, over here!" he shouted, breaking into a sprint. She collapsed onto her side, sobbing uncontrollably. Relief flooded her so hard she almost blacked out. The ranger dropped to his knees beside her. "Oh my God, you're alive! Stay with me, okay? We've got you." He pressed his radio to his mouth, voice urgent. "Base, I've got a survivor. Severe trauma, frostbite, possible hypothermia. Sending coordinates now." Elena tried to speak. Only a croak escaped. The ranger gripped her hand tightly, his eyes softening beneath the harsh lines of duty. "You're safe now. Just breathe." Behind them, the forest stood silent. The creature was gone, or hiding, waiting. But in that moment, it didn't matter. Elena clung to the ranger's hand as he wrapped her in an emergency blanket. He held her against his chest, trying to share what little warmth he could. A snowmobile roared closer. More figures emerged, more rangers, paramedics. Bright headlamps cut through the trees, scattering long shadows like fleeing ghosts. Elena closed her eyes as hands lifted her, strapped her onto a sled. Above her, the stars still burned, cold and distant. Somewhere in her half-conscious mind, she heard her father's voice, that old warmth that used to guide her through nightmares. "You're strong, Ellie. You're stronger than you think." Tears rolled down her frozen cheeks. They sped away through the pines, the last echoes of the creature's roar fading into the night behind them. For the first time, in what felt like centuries, she let herself slip under. Not into darkness, but into something close to sleep. Safe. Or so she prayed. Elena's world came back in shards of fluorescent white and hushed, urgent voices. A harsh beeping invaded her dreams, dragging her up from some warm, black abyss. She tried to roll away from it, but her body felt strapped down, her limbs distant and foreign, as if she were wearing someone else's skin. Then she heard a voice. "Elena? Honey? Can you hear me?" A woman's voice, shaky, desperate, yet oddly familiar. Elena fought to pry her eyelids open. Light stabbed into her skull, sharp as a knife. She winced, letting out a small, strangled groan. "Oh, thank God!" The woman's voice cracked, followed by a wet, hiccuping sob. Her eyes adjusted slowly, focusing on a shape hunched at her bedside, a man in her mid-50s. Her hair streaked gray and twisted into a messy bun, eyes red and raw. It took Elena several seconds to recognize her own mother. "Mom?" she croaked, her throat dry as sandpaper. Her mother lunged forward, gripping her hand with such force Elena almost yelped. "Oh, my baby! You're okay! Elena tried to squeeze her hand back, but her fingers barely twitched. A nurse entered, moving briskly, checking the monitors. "She's conscious now," the nurse announced, tapping at her tablet. "That's good, try not to overwhelm her." Her mother nodded frantically, brushing sweaty strands of hair off Elena's forehead. "You're in St. Jude Medical," the nurse said gently. "You were found by a ranger. You had severe hypothermia, a broken leg, and multiple lacerations. You've been out for about 36 hours. You're safe now." Safe. The word echoed in Elena's mind, hollow and slippery. She tried to remember the forest, the fire, the icy stream, the thing wearing her father's face. Her chest seized up. Her heart monitor spiked into a frantic staccato. "No, breathe, sweetie," her mother cried. The nurse leaned over, adjusting Elena's oxygen mask and gently pressing her shoulders down. "It's okay. You're here. You're safe," she repeated, voice low and rhythmic. Elena gasped, her ribs hitching. Tears flooded her vision. Images crashed through her mind. The charred cabin, the monstrous shape moving through the moonlight, the endless screaming inside her own head. She wanted to rip the IV lines out and run, but her body wouldn't obey. Eventually, her breathing slowed, the beeps on the monitor returning to a steadier rhythm. Her mother sobbed quietly beside her, whispering broken prayers into the pale light. Elena drifted in and out of consciousness for hours. Time bled together. Blurry shapes of nurses, snatches of cold water against her cracked lips, the antiseptic bite of the room. At some point, a detective appeared, a tall man in a black jacket with sunken eyes and a mustache that looked like it had seen too many late-night coffees. He stood by her bed, a notepad in hand. "Elena," he said softly, "I know you're exhausted, but we need your statement. Anything you remember could help." She turned her face away, shutting her eyes tight. "Elena, please," he urged, voice thinning with impatience. Her mother shot him a glare sharp enough to cut glass. "She needs rest," she snapped. The detective sighed, scribbling something on his pad before stepping back. "I'll come back tomorrow," he muttered, slipping out the door. Silence settled like dust. Elena could feel her mother's gaze on her, a mixture of relief and terror. She opened her eyes again and whispered, "It wasn't him." Her mother leaned forward, puzzled. "Who, baby?" Elena shook her head weakly, tears slipping into her hair. "It wasn't Dad. I thought, but it wasn't him. It wore his face." Her mother's lips trembled. She pulled back slightly, her eyes filling with dread. "Elena, you've been through a terrible trauma," she began cautiously, voice brittle. Elena turned her head sharply, wincing from the pain that knifed down her neck. "No, listen to me," she hissed. Her mother's eyes brimmed over. She gripped Elena's hand again, shaking. "I believe you," she choked out, though the lie was so thin it cracked as it left her lips. Elena stared into her mother's eyes, searching for an anchor, but found only a bottomless well of fear. Later that night, when her mother finally collapsed into a chair and dozed off, Elena lay awake, staring at the ceiling tiles. A soft knock came at the door. The ranger stepped in, the one who had found her. He looked different now in civilian clothes, his hair flattened awkwardly, eyes puffy and tired. "Hey," he whispered, closing the door behind him. "Couldn't sleep." Elena blinked at him. He moved closer, perching awkwardly at the edge of her bed. "I had to see you," he said. "I needed to know." "What happened out there?" His voice trembled. He wasn't just a rescuer anymore. He was haunted. Elena swallowed, her mouth dry and sour. "It followed me," she whispered. "It wasn't my father. It's still out there." The ranger stared at her, his face turning pale under the hospital lights. "I knew something was wrong," he muttered, rubbing his forehead. "When I found you, the smell in the air, the broken trees, it felt wrong." Elena gripped his wrist suddenly, surprising both of them. "You have to believe me," she said, her voice slicing through the sterile quiet like a razor. He looked down at her, eyes wide and full of some raw, feral understanding. "I do," he said finally. "I don't know what the hell it is, but I believe you." A sob racked her chest. She squeezed his hand until her knuckles turned white. "Don't let it find me," she begged, her words falling out in broken gasps. "Please." The ranger nodded, tears welling in his own eyes. "I won't," he promised. "I won't let it touch you again." Outside the window, the moon hung low and heavy, its light spilling like milk over the rooftops. Somewhere far beyond in the darkness of the forest, something shifted, listening, waiting. Elena felt it in her bones. The battle wasn't over. But for now, in this bright, humming room, with the ranger's warm hand around hers, she allowed herself a single, shuddering breath of relief. Tomorrow would come with new horrors. But tonight, for the first time in days, she wasn't alone. Elena didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars someone had stuck to the hospital ceiling years ago. They glimmered weakly, a child's naive attempt at comfort in a place designed to hold pain. Her mother slept in the chair, her body twisted in a cramped, uncomfortable shape. Every so often she twitched, her face twitching with nightmares Alina could almost feel crawling across the room. The ranger, his name was Carter, sat beside Alina, his head down, one hand resting lightly on hers. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. Some truths didn't fit into words. When dawn finally bled across the sky, painting the walls a pale, watery blue, Carter stirred. His eyes looked even more sunken than before, haunted by ghosts only they seemed to share. Alina licked her cracked lips. Her voice felt buried under rubble. "It's not gone," she rasped. Carter looked up sharply. "I know," he said, his voice low, as if the thing could hear them even here amidst the antiseptic smell and the steady beeping of machines. A nurse entered, bustling in with a tray of medications. She paused, scanning Carter with suspicion. "You shouldn't be in here overnight," she said firmly. Carter straightened, his broad shoulders tensing. "I'm leaving now," he replied, his tone flat and tired. The nurse rolled her eyes and turned to Elena, checking her IV line and jotting notes on a chart. "Try to rest today," she instructed, as if rest were something you could simply choose, like picking a new brand of cereal. When the nurse finally left, Carter hovered by the door, hesitant. "I'll be back tonight," he promised. "We need to talk more, figure this out." Elena nodded, her throat too raw for words. Carter hesitated, then turned and disappeared into the hallway, swallowed by the sterile morning bustle. Elena shifted, trying to find comfort in the stiff hospital bed. A fresh wave of pain shot through her leg, making her gasp. She squeezed her eyes shut, clutching the sheets. But the pain wasn't the worst part. It was the sense of something just beyond the edges of her vision, something lurking behind the closed doors of her mind, scratching softly. A memory clawed up her spine. The cabin, the stench of burning wood and hair. Her father's face melting into a grotesque parody of itself, mouth stretching wide enough to split the jaw, revealing rows of thin, glassy teeth that shimmered like fish scales. She sucked in a sharp breath. Her heart monitor beeped erratically. "Elena," her mother's voice, soft and tentative. Elena cracked her eyes open. Her mother was leaning forward, hands folded so tightly her knuckles were white. "We need to talk," her mother said, voice trembling. Elena swallowed. "About what?" Her mother's eyes darted to the window, as if expecting something monstrous to crash through. "About your father." Elena's whole body stiffened. Her mother took a shaking breath. "You always believed he disappeared because he was lost in the snow, but..." Her mother's voice faltered, her eyes brimming with 1,000 unspoken regrets. Elena stared, her pulse thudding. "There were stories," her mother continued, her voice now barely a whisper. "Old stories from his family, about a creature that could wear a person's face, lure others into the woods. I thought they were just drunken ghost tales." Elena felt her nails dig into her palms. "You knew?" she hissed. "All these years? You knew something might come for us?" Her mother flinched as if slapped. Tears spilled down her face. "I didn't believe it. I thought it was folklore, some twisted family legend. Your father, he started acting strangely before he disappeared, talking to the trees at night, hearing voices." Elena's breath rattled in her chest. "He wasn't the same," her mother choked out. "He changed." Elena turned her head away, nausea twisting her gut. "All these years," she murmured, her voice cold and hollow. "You let me think it was an accident." Her mother broke into loud shaking sobs, pressing her face into her hands. Outside the window, snow began to fall again, swirling in silent eddies. Elena stared at it, her mind unspooling. She saw the thing in the woods again. The way it had moved, too fluid, too smooth. The way it had called her name in her father's voice, soft and tender just before it lunged at her. Elena shut her eyes, shaking violently. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Carter stood there, his face pale as milk. "We need to go," he said, his voice sharp, urgent. Elena's mother looked up, startled. "What? Go where?" Carter's eyes never left Elena. They found a second cabin nearby, burned to the ground, and tracks, massive, deep, not human. It's moving. Elena's heart stopped for a beat. Her mother let out a strangled noise. But the doctors. She can't. Carter ignored her, stepping closer to the bed. Elena, listen to me. It's coming. You know it. We can't wait for it to find you here. Elena swallowed, her mind spinning. But I can't even walk, she whispered, glancing at her bandaged leg. Carter's jaw clenched. Then I'll carry you. For a moment, the room seemed to contract, the walls pressing in. The smell of antiseptic turned into the smell of wet moss and blood. Elena locked eyes with him, and something hot, electric, surged through her. Okay, she said finally, her voice shaking but certain. Carter moved fast. He unhooked the IV, ignoring the shrill alarms from the monitor. Her mother shrieked, stumbling backward as Carter wrapped Elena in a blanket. We're coming back for you, he barked at her mother. Stay here, lock the door. Don't open it for anyone, not even us, unless you hear this. He knocked twice, paused, then knocked once more. A code. Her mother collapsed into the chair, sobbing, hands pressed over her ears. Carter lifted Elena with surprising ease, his muscles taut and trembling under her weight. The hallway outside echoed with distant footsteps, the sounds of a hospital oblivious to the war slipping through its walls. Elena clung to Carter's neck, burying her face in his collar. It knows we're leaving, she whispered. Carter didn't reply. He just kept moving, each step sharp and certain, as if he could outrun every demon in the woods. The hospital doors burst open, and the freezing wind slammed into them like a living thing. Carter's breath came out in clouds, each one lit by the cold moon hanging above. Elena trembled against his chest, the thin blanket doing nothing against the icy claws of the night. They sprinted across the parking lot, Carter's boots crunching over frost and old salt crystals. Every shadow looked alive, every parked car a potential hiding place for the thing that wore her father's voice. A distant siren wailed somewhere in town. Carter didn't slow, didn't look back. His truck sat at the far end of the lot, a rusted beast with a cracked windshield and paint flaking like old skin. He threw open the passenger door and gently set Elena inside, her face pale and drawn. "Buckle up," he ordered, his voice sharp but shaking underneath. Elena fumbled with the seatbelt, her fingers numb and clumsy. Carter slammed the door and sprinted around to the driver's side. As he climbed in, his eyes darted around the lot, scanning for movement. The engine growled to life, coughing and sputtering before catching. Headlights cut through the swirling snow, and for a moment it looked like they had a clear shot out. Then, something shifted at the edge of the lot. A tall, skeletal figure stepped forward from the tree line. Even from this distance, Elena saw the glint of its teeth. Too many, too sharp, too perfect to belong to anything human. Her breath caught in her throat. "Carter." "I see it," he hissed, slamming the truck into gear. The tires shrieked against the icy pavement as the truck shot forward, fishtailing wildly. Carter wrestled the wheel, knuckles white, jaw clenched so hard Elena thought his teeth might snap. The creature tilted its head, almost curious, then sprinted after them on limbs that moved wrong, bending backward, joints clicking like dry branches. It closed the distance at an impossible speed, moving in bursts that blurred its outline. "Faster!" Elena screamed, gripping the dash until her nails tore at the vinyl. Carter floored it, the old truck roaring down the deserted streets. He veered onto Main Street, snow flurries whipping across the windshield. Streetlights flickered, the town looking abandoned, haunted. In the rearview mirror, Carter saw it leap onto a passing car, crushing the roof like paper. It didn't pause, it launched itself off again, leaving twisted metal and shattered glass in its wake. Carter took a hard left, the truck slamming Elena against the door. Pain flared in her leg, but she barely felt it. Her eyes were glued to the rear window, watching the thing bounce from car to car, unstoppable, a living nightmare. Suddenly, Carter jerked the wheel and slammed on the brakes. The truck skidded sideways into an alley between two dark buildings, tires throwing up a storm of snow and slush. He killed the headlights and the engine, plunging them into a suffocating darkness. "Shh," Carter whispered, pressing a finger to his lips. Elena forced herself to breathe slowly, every muscle in her body trembling. Outside, the thing landed on the pavement with a sickening thud. Its silhouette passed the alley. Too close, too silent. For a heartbeat, Elena thought they might have fooled it. Then it stopped, turned. The creature dropped to all fours, sniffing the air. Its head twitched toward the alley, its body convulsing with each ragged inhale. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Her heart hammered so violently she thought it might explode. Carter slowly reached under his seat and pulled out a hunting rifle. The metal gleamed faintly in the moonlight, his hands trembling around the stock. "It can't have us both," he mouthed silently to her. Elena's eyes widened. She shook her head violently, grabbing his sleeve, but Carter gently pried her fingers away. "I need you to run," he whispered, his voice breaking. "When I shoot, you get out. Head for the river, you hear me? You run, and you don't look back." Elena tried to speak, but her voice came out as a strangled sob. Carter pressed his forehead to hers for one fleeting second. "Don't let it win, Elena, please." He cracked the door open slowly, so slowly the hinges didn't dare squeal. Snow drifted inside, kissing her cheeks like icy needles. Outside, the creature shifted again, its claws scraping the asphalt. Carter stepped into the moonlight. "Hey!" he roared, his voice echoing down the silent street. "Come and get me, you bastard!" The creature's head snapped toward him. In that moment, Carter raised the rifle and fired. The shot thundered, splitting the night in two. Elena didn't wait. She shoved the door open and tumbled out, biting back a scream as pain lanced through her leg. She crawled into the shadows, snow soaking her hair and gown. Behind her, she heard the creature shriek, a sound that wasn't human, wasn't animal. It was something older, a howl that seemed to claw at her bones. Carter fired again, and again. Then, a gurgling scream. Elena covered her mouth, tears freezing on her cheeks. She pulled herself up, limping, pushing forward. Her blood left dark stains on the snow, but she didn't stop. She reached the end of the alley, ducking behind a dumpster, every breath a knife in her lungs. A heavy silence fell. Then, footsteps. Wet, dragging footsteps. Elena peered around the corner. The creature moved slowly now, its head low, sniffing, Carter's blood dripping from its claws. She ducked back, bile rising in her throat. Her heart screamed at her to run, but her body refused to move. She closed her eyes, whispered a silent goodbye to Carter, and took a deep breath. Then she pushed off the wall and ran. Snow swallowed her footsteps, the cold gnawing at her bones. The river wasn't far. She could hear it now, a low, endless rush in the dark. She didn't dare look back. Elena stumbled through the snow, her breath hitching in ragged gasps. The moon watched from above, pale and unblinking, casting long shadows that twisted around her like grasping hands. Branches clawed at her arms and tangled in her hair as she crashed through the underbrush. Blood dripped from the gash on her leg, each step a raw jolt of pain up her spine. Her lungs burned, her throat tasted of iron and panic. Behind her, the creature's shrieks echoed through the trees, a hideous chattering wail that turned her bones to ice. She couldn't let herself think of Carter, couldn't let herself remember the way he'd looked at her, eyes full of a desperate final love, couldn't remember the way his scream had split the night. She just had to run. Elena broke through a thicket and nearly fell face first into the icy mud at the river's edge. The water glistened darkly under the moonlight, moving fast and angry, crashing against the rocks like 1,000 fists. She hesitated, trembling, her mind screaming in 1,000 directions. Could she swim? Would the current pull her under? Would the creature follow her into the water, or would it wait on the shore, sniffing the air, waiting for her to resurface so it could tear her apart? A sudden crack of a branch behind her snapped her mind back to the present. She turned. There it was, tall, hunched, dripping with Carter's blood. Its eyes gleamed, a hungry, alien brightness that pierced the dark. It tilted its head, and Elena swore she heard it laugh, a wet, bubbling sound that made her knees buckle. She stumbled backward, her heel slipping on a rock. Her arms flailed wildly, and for a brief second she felt weightless. Then she crashed into the river. The shock was instant, like 1,000 needles driving into her skin. The current seized her, yanked her under. Water slammed into her nose and mouth, filling her throat with a burning, suffocating cold. She kicked, clawed, broke the surface, gasping. The moon spun above her, a blurred halo. The current dragged her downstream, bouncing her against half-submerged logs and jagged rocks. Her hands scrabbled for anything to hold on to, but everything slipped away, smooth and slick with ice. She twisted her head, saw the shore receding. The creature watched her silently from the bank, head low, claws twitching as though it was contemplating diving in after her. Then, with a final guttural hiss, it turned and vanished into the trees. Elena's relief was instant but sharp and fleeting. She had escaped, for now. But the river had no mercy. It pulled her deeper into its throat, spinning her, shoving her under again. She clawed at the darkness, her vision flickering in and out. Images stuttered in her mind. Carter's smile, her father's distant stare, the hospital hallway smeared in blood. Elena surfaced again, coughing violently. Her head smashed into a branch, stars exploding behind her eyes. "Keep moving," she screamed at herself, though her voice was swallowed by the roar of water. She kicked, feeling her legs give way, muscles trembling with exhaustion and cold. Her fingers finally found a rock jutting out from the bank, and she clung to it like a lifeline. Her arms screamed in protest, but she refused to let go. With a final surge of strength she didn't know she had, she dragged herself from the river. Her body flopped onto the frozen mud, every nerve alight with agony. For long moments she just lay there, staring at the sky. Every breath rattled in her chest like broken glass. Her soaked gown clung to her skin, the cold digging in deeper than any knife. Finally, she forced herself to her knees. Her hands shook uncontrollably as she crawled forward, inch by inch, away from the river. The forest around her was quiet now, but not in a comforting way. It felt like the world was holding its breath, waiting for her next move. She pushed herself to her feet, wavering dangerously. Every part of her wanted to collapse, to sink into the snow and let it take her. But Carter's voice echoed inside her skull. "Don't let it win." Elena staggered forward, her eyes scanning the dark for shelter. In the distance, she saw a shape, a small cabin half hidden by gnarled pines. Smoke curled weakly from its chimney, a ghostly sign of life. She stumbled toward it, falling twice, each time dragging herself back up. By the time she reached the porch, her knuckles were raw, her face streaked with blood and tears. She pounded on the door, her fists leaving smears of red on the old wood. "Please," she choked out, "please, someone help me." The door creaked open. A thin woman stood there, her hair gray and wild around her face. Her eyes were sharp and suspicious, darting to the forest behind Elena. "Who sent you?" the woman hissed, her voice like dry leaves scraping together. Elena sagged against the doorframe. "Please, there's something chasing me. It killed him. Please." The woman studied her for a moment longer, then stepped aside. "Get in, quickly." Elena stumbled inside, collapsing just past the threshold. The door slammed shut behind her, the lock sliding into place with a decisive click. Inside, the cabin was dim and cluttered, lit only by a single oil lamp. The air smelled of herbs and smoke, a sharp, earthy scent that stung Elena's nose. The woman hovered above her, eyes narrowing. "You brought it here, didn't you?" she whispered. Elena shook her head frantically. "No, I swear, it's not following me." "I don't think so." The woman leaned closer, her breath warm against Elena's ear. "You have no idea what you've unleashed," she said, her voice trembling not with fear, but with something else, something like reverence. Elena tried to reply, but the world spun violently. Her eyes fluttered shut, her body finally surrendering to the exhaustion and cold. The last thing she heard was the woman muttering, words too low and strange to understand. Then, nothing. Elena woke to the smell of burning sage and the sound of a kettle whistling somewhere in the dark. Her eyelids felt like they were glued shut. Every inch of her skin burned with the sting of old wounds and new bruises. Slowly, she forced her eyes open and found herself lying on a thin, itchy blanket near the cabin's fireplace. The woman sat across from her, muttering to herself as she ground something in a mortar. Her face looked different now, not the wild suspicion of last night, but a cold, calculating stillness. Elena tried to move, but her limbs were heavy, as if her bones had been filled with lead. The woman didn't look up. "Don't bother trying to get up yet," she said, voice rough and matter-of-fact. "Your body needs time." Elia's throat was raw. She tried to speak, but only a hoarse rasp came out. The woman handed her a steaming cup. "Drink, it'll help." With trembling hands, Elena brought the cup to her lips. The liquid tasted bitter and earthy, sliding down her throat like molten iron. Almost immediately, warmth spread through her chest, tingling out to her fingers and toes. The woman finally looked up, her eyes dark and too sharp, as if she could see inside Elena's head. "You've seen it?" the woman said softly, almost reverently. Elena's heart pounded against her ribs. She set the cup down, hands shaking. "The thing in the woods, it killed Carter." The woman nodded slowly, as if she'd heard this story 1,000 times before. "That creature, it doesn't just kill, it breaks you from the inside. It crawls into your nightmares and rots you out until there's nothing left but skin and screams." Elena shivered violently. "What is it?" The woman's gaze flicked to the window, as though she expected to see it staring back. "It has no true name," she whispered. "People in these parts call it the hunger. Some say it's older than the pines, older than the stones buried under the river. It comes when something in the world tears open, when grief and rage make enough noise to wake it." Elena thought of Carter's last look, the terror in his eyes as he sacrificed himself. She pressed her hands to her face, trying to block the memory. The woman's voice cut through her thoughts. "It came for you because you called it." Elena snapped her head up. "I didn't call for anything." "Oh, but you did," the woman insisted. "You carry loss like a torch. You think it can't smell that? You're marked." Elena staggered to her feet despite the pain. "You don't understand. I didn't ask for any of this." The woman stood too, slow and deliberate, like a snake uncoiling. "None of us ask," she said. "But some of us survive, and some of us feed it so we can keep breathing." A sick wave of realization crashed over Elena. You've fed it before." The woman's eyes flashed with something close to regret, or maybe excitement. "I had a daughter once, beautiful, fierce. She fought it, thought she could outsmart it. In the end, she lost." Elena felt her knees buckle, but she caught herself against the mantel. "Why did you let me in?" she croaked. The woman stepped closer. "Because it follows you now. Your bait, girl. Bait strong enough to bring it close enough so I can finally finish what I started." The room seemed to shrink around Elena, the walls leaning in, the shadows deepening. "You're insane," Elena spat, trying to back away. The woman's face split into a terrible smile. "Maybe, or maybe I'm the only one willing to do what it takes." Lightning flared outside, illuminating the room in a white black. In that flash, Elena saw the rows of charms nailed above the windows, the lines of salt along the door frames, the jars of bones and teeth stacked on crooked shelves. The woman raised her hands, chanting words that sounded like broken glass scraping across stone. The temperature in the room plunged. Elena's breath clouded in the air. A deep, guttural growl vibrated through the floorboards. Elena turned and ran for the door. Her fingers fumbled at the locks, the old wood splintering beneath her desperation. "Don't!" the woman screamed. "It's already here!" But Elena didn't stop. She threw the door open and stumbled into the storm. Snow whipped across her face, stinging her skin like knives. The moon was gone, swallowed by thick black clouds. Somewhere behind her, she heard the woman's chanting rise into a shriek. Elena didn't dare look back. She bolted toward the trees, heart hammering in her chest like a war drum. Her feet sank into the drifts, but she forced them to move, one after the other, each step a battle against the cold and terror clawing at her mind. She heard the forest breathing around her, deep, heavy, as if the pines themselves had come alive. Branches creaked and groaned, some snapping under an invisible weight. She crashed through a tangle of dead brush and fell hard onto her side, the impact knocking the air from her lungs. Above her, something moved. A long, sinuous shape, darker than the night itself, slithered between the trunks. Its eyes glowed faintly a sickly pale green. Elena tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. The creature tilted its head, studying her. Then, impossibly, it smiled. Elena scrambled backward, her hands clawing at the frozen earth. The creature took a step forward, its claws sinking into the snow with a wet crunch. A distant roar of thunder rolled across the sky. Elena pushed herself up and turned to run again, her mind a wild spinning blur of Carter, the woman's words, and the creature's hungry stare. Through the black trees she saw something, a faint light flickering like a dying star. Hope sparked inside her chest. She lunged toward it, each movement fueled by raw animal terror. The creature let out a screech so loud it shattered something inside her head, but she didn't stop. Elena tore through the last line of trees, her feet finding an old trail that led down to a cluster of dilapidated cabins. The light glowed brighter now, calling her forward like a lighthouse to a shipwrecked sailor. She staggered toward the largest cabin, collapsing against the door, pounding with the last of her strength. "Help me," she sobbed. "Please, someone help me." Inside, she heard movement. Footsteps. Then, the door cracked open, revealing a young man with a shotgun in hand and fear carved deep into his eyes. Elena looked up at him, her face a mask of blood, mud, and tears. "It's coming," she gasped. "Please, don't let it in." The man's mouth fell open, and for a heartbeat, they just stared at each other. Then he grabbed her arm and yanked her inside, slamming the door shut behind them. Elena collapsed to the floor as the man bolted the door and dragged a heavy wooden beam across it. Her chest heaved, each breath like knives in her ribs. The man turned toward her, shotgun still in hand, his eyes wide and trembling. He looked young, mid-20s maybe, hair shaggy and soaked from the snow, stubble scattered across his jaw. "Jesus Christ," he hissed, voice shaking. "What the hell did you bring here?" Elena couldn't answer. She pressed her back against the wall, hugging her knees to her chest, eyes darting from the window to the dark corners of the cabin. The man started pacing, muttering curses under his breath. He glanced at the boarded windows, the half-burnt candles, the weird symbols scrawled on the walls in black ash. "You shouldn't have come here," he snapped, pointing the shotgun at her. "You've doomed us both." Elena's voice was barely a whisper. "Please, I didn't have anywhere else to go." His jaw tightened, eyes darting between her and the door. "They always say that," he spat. "You think I don't know how it works? It sniffs them out, forces them to run straight into other people, just like a fucking virus." Elena shook her head violently. "No. It killed my friend, Carter. It's been hunting me. I had no choice." His glare faltered for a moment. He lowered the gun slightly, his breathing ragged. "My name's Nathan," he finally muttered. "I was hoping I had a few more days before it found me again." Elena's eyes flicked to the strange sigils on the walls. "You know about it, don't you?" Nathan snorted bitterly. "Know about it? I've been running from it my entire life." He dropped into a chair, his head in his hands. "My father thought he could trap it, keep it away with old runes and salt lines, but it always finds a way in." Elena inched closer, desperation surging through her veins like fire. "Please? There must be a way to stop it." Nathan laughed, a hollow, broken sound. "Stop it? You don't stop hunger. You just feed it someone else and pray it's satisfied long enough to forget your scent." She recoiled, horror twisting her stomach. "Is that what you did?" He looked up, eyes glassy with old grief. "I didn't choose it. My father did. My mother, my sister, they paid the price. He believed in sacrifice. I believed in running." Outside, the wind roared against the walls. and something scraped across the roof with a sound like nails on a coffin lid. Elena's heart pounded in her throat. "We can fight it. We have to try." Nathan stood, trembling. He reached for a heavy pack near the hearth and pulled out more candles, salt, small glass bottles filled with murky liquid. "You think you can fight it?" he said, almost gently. "I've watched stronger men than me lose their minds in seconds. I've seen families vanish in one night, nothing left but teeth and bone fragments in the snow." Elena forced herself to her feet, rage rising above her terror. "I won't let it win. I won't let Carter's death mean nothing." Nathan paused, something shifting behind his eyes. "You loved him." Tears flooded Elena's vision. She nodded, her shoulders shaking. Nathan sighed, looking at her as if he was seeing her for the first time. Maybe we have one chance." He crossed the room, grabbing a piece of chalk and drawing a circle in the center of the floor. Symbols spiraled outward in careful, shaking lines. Elena watched, every nerve on fire. "What are you doing?" "A summoning circle," he murmured. "But not to call it here. It's already here. This is to hold it, even for a few minutes." Her stomach turned. "And then what?" Nathan's jaw flexed. "Len, someone has to bind it, trap it inside themselves, become the vessel." Elena's breath caught. "You mean someone has to die?" Nathan shook his head. "Worse. Someone has to live with it inside them forever. You become it, you carry its hunger, its nightmares, and you spend the rest of your life running so it doesn't spill out and destroy everything around you." She felt like the air had been sucked from the room, her fingers curled into fists at her sides. Nathan's eyes softened for a moment. "I don't expect you to choose this. No one should. But you're marked, Elena. It might accept you." The walls trembled, a low rumble echoing through the floorboards. The candles flickered violently. Elena's mind spun, Carter's laugh echoing in her head, the warmth of his hand in hers, the quiet promise in his eyes. The last night they shared together. A deafening roar split the night. Nathan met her eyes, his own full of weary resignation. "It's now or never." Elena took a trembling step toward the circle. A shadow exploded through the window, glass shattering into 1,000 razor shards. The creature unfurled, its limbs bending in impossible angles, its mouth stretching wide in a silent scream. Nathan screamed, raising the shotgun and firing. The blast tore a chunk from the creature, but it kept moving, crawling toward Elena like a spider dripping pitch. Elena felt her legs buckle. She fell forward, crawling into the chalk circle as the creature loomed over her, dripping darkness onto the symbols. Nathan dropped the gun, sprinting forward, trying to pull her out. "Don't do it," he shouted, tears streaming down his face, but Elena was already inside. She looked up at the creature, her eyes wide and clear. "I'm not running anymore," she whispered. The creature lunged, crashing down onto her, and in that instant, the entire cabin flashed with blinding white light. Elena felt her mind crack open. Memories, screams, blood, an ocean of hunger flooded into her soul. She saw Carter's final moment, the woman's twisted face, Nathan's broken family, every horror, every secret. Then, silence. She opened her eyes. The creature was gone. The circle glowed faintly beneath her, then faded to ash. Nathan fell to his knees, staring at her in shock. Elena stood slowly, her breathing deep and steady. "It's over," she said, her voice low and inhuman. Nathan trembled. "Elena?" She turned her head toward him, and for a moment her eyes shone that same sickly green. Then she smiled, an expression equal parts heartbreak and unspeakable relief. "It's me," she said softly, "but I'm not alone anymore." Outside, the wind died, leaving only the crackling of a distant fire and the sharp sting of cold moonlight against the snow. The cabin felt impossibly still in the aftermath. Nathan remained on his knees, unable to breathe, staring at Elena as though she had stepped out of some fever dream. Her hair hung in tangled sheets over her face, her skin pale as moonlight, but her eyes Her eyes weren't just hers anymore. They glimmered with something vast, something ancient and endless. Elena stood inside the circle, toes brushing the smudged lines of chalk and ash. The glow had died, leaving only faint scorch marks where the creature's essence had once coiled. She flexed her fingers, feeling the slick invisible film of the thing writhing beneath her skin. 1,000 whispers curled at the edge of her thoughts, each one clawing for release. But she held them back with a will like iron. Nathan finally managed to croak out a single word. "Elena?" She looked up at him, a slow, heavy movement like some statue waking from centuries of sleep. Her lips curved into a small, sad smile. "I'm here," she said softly. The words echoed strangely, as if spoken through a cave or across a frozen lake. Nathan stumbled forward, stopping just outside the circle. His hands shook so violently he dropped the shotgun. "Jesus Christ," he whispered. "What have you done?" Elena tilted her head as though considering the question. "I made a choice," she replied. "I chose to end the running." Nathan's face crumpled. He pressed his palms to his forehead. "You don't know what you've taken inside you. That thing, once it has a host, it never leaves. You'll become it, Elena. There's no coming back." Elena stepped carefully out of the circle. Her bare foot landed on the wooden floor with a quiet thump. In that simple sound, something shifted. It was like watching a wildfire lick across dry brush, silent at first, then roaring. She took another step. Nathan flinched backward. "I know," she said, her voice trembling with an odd tenderness. "But I've carried enough guilt to fill lifetimes. Carter, my family, the strangers who died because I ran. This ends with me." Nathan squeezed his eyes shut, shaking his head. No, you don't have to do this. We can find another way. We can..." Elena's laugh cut through the air like a blade. It was low, throaty, almost musical. But underneath it, something else moved. An echo of that creature's rasping hunger. "You still believe in ways out," she said, almost kindly. "I admire that." She stopped inches from Nathan, her hand lifted slowly, almost in slow motion, until it hovered above his heart. He watched her fingers as if they might erupt into claws at any second. Then she let her hand fall on his chest, gently, as if she might comfort a child. "You can run," she whispered, "or you can help me." Nathan's breath hitched. He stared at her, his eyes wide and wet. "Help? You?" She nodded. "I don't want to feed. I don't want to become what it was. But I can't hold it alone. I need someone to ground me, to remind me who I was before all of this." Nathan's lips parted, but no words came out. He looked down at her hand, then back into her eyes. For a moment, he saw the old Elena, the woman fighting for her friends in the snow, the girl who wouldn't surrender to the darkness. He thought of his father, his sister, all the people he failed. This could be his chance to finally do something right. With a strangled sob, he nodded. "Okay," he said, voice cracking. "Okay, I'll help you." Elena's eye softened. Her other hand came up, brushing the tears from his cheek. "Thank you," she murmured. Suddenly, the room darkened. The candles flared, then sputtered, drowning the cabin in a swirling blackness. Nathan could feel a presence coiling around them, a heavy, suffocating tide of shadow. Elena squeezed his hands. "Don't let go," she ordered. Her voice was barely a whisper above the storm of shrieking inside her skull. Nathan squeezed back, harder than he ever thought possible. The creature inside her snarled, clawing at her ribs, pushing against her throat like it was trying to crawl out. Elena's back arched, her face twisting in agony. Nathan closed his eyes. "Stay with me, Elena. You're here! You're here!" she screamed, the sound shattering the quiet night. Outside, the wind picked up again, slamming into the cabin walls. The sigils on the floor sparked faintly. Nathan felt it too. The thing slipping through his fingers, threatening to drag her away into its endless abyss. He gripped her tighter, pressing his forehead to hers. "You're Elena! You're stronger than it! You're not alone!" she gasped, her eyes rolling back, the green glow burning bright enough to light the walls. Then, in a single convulsive motion, she jerked forward and collapsed against his chest. Silence swallowed the cabin. The wind died, the candles steadied. Nathan held her, trembling, waiting for her to move. Slowly her fingers curled into his jacket, anchoring herself there. She exhaled shakily, her voice like a cracked violin. "I'm still here." Nathan pressed his face into her hair, tears soaking into the strands. "I've got you," he whispered over and over, like a prayer. She pulled back slightly, enough to look into his eyes. "You're my tether now," she said, voice soft but fierce. "If I lose control, you'll know what to do." Nathan swallowed hard, understanding the unspoken promise. Elena rested her forehead against his. "We're in this together." He nodded, lips trembling. "Together." Outside, the snow drifted gently under a pale moon, as if the land itself were exhaling after a long, ragged sob. But inside that tiny, battered cabin, two broken souls made a pact that felt larger than any curse. The creature wasn't gone. It would never be gone. But for now, it was caged inside her, and she wasn't alone in carrying its weight, and sometimes that was enough to survive. The morning sun cut across the snow like a blade of cold gold, spilling through the shattered window panes of the cabin. Nathan felt it first on his face, a sharp warmth that almost felt like an accusation. Elena was curled up on the floor beside the cold hearth, her breathing ragged, her hair matted with sweat and soot. Her hand rested lightly on her chest, fingers twitching every few seconds, as if she were trying to hold something down inside her ribcage. Nathan had barely slept. He sat against the wall, his knees drawn to his chest, eyes locked on her the entire night. Every hour, he had to fight the instinct to shake her awake, to make sure she was still herself, that she hadn't vanished into whatever abyss she now carried inside. At dawn, she stirred. She opened her eyes slowly, blinking as if each movement hurt. When she saw Nathan, she gave a weary, pained smile. "Hey," she croaked, her voice more air than sound. Nathan scrambled to her side, gripping her shoulder too hard. "Good, Elena, you scared the shit out of me. Are you okay?" She laughed softly, broken, breathless. "Define okay." He looked at her, his jaw working, and then let out a strangled sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. He collapsed beside her, pressing his forehead against her shoulder. For a moment, they just breathed together. Then Elena sat up, pushing herself against the hearth. Her face twisted as she moved, a grimace slicing across her features like a knife. "It's quieter now," she murmured, touching her temple. "It's contained, but it's there, always there." Nathan searched her eyes, terrified of what he might find, but beneath the exhaustion and pain, there was still that spark. The fierce, stubborn defiance that had kept her alive all these years. "We can figure this out," he said quickly, almost too quickly, like a man throwing out lifelines to stop from drowning. "Maybe there's someone out there, someone who knows more than I do. We'll find them. She shook her head slowly. "No," she said firmly. "I made my choice. I don't want to chase after more else. I don't want to chase after more rituals, more traps, more bodies." Nathan opened his mouth, but she cut him off with a trembling hand pressed to his cheek. "You're here," she said softly. "That's enough." The words lodged in his throat. Outside, the snow began to fall again in slow, lazy spirals. Each flake seemed to echo in the heavy quiet of the cabin. Elena pushed herself to her feet, unsteady as a newborn foal. Nathan rose beside her, hands hovering inches from her arms, terrified to touch her and terrified not to. She stumbled to the table, the floorboards creaking beneath her weight. Her eyes scanned the tattered maps, the stained notebooks, the old coffee mugs turned into candle holders. This place had been a fortress once, a sanctuary. Now it felt like a mausoleum. She traced a finger over one of the maps, her breath shallow. "This cabin won't hold me," she said, almost to herself. "It's too small. Too many memories." Nathan stiffened. "What are you saying?" She turned, her gaze meeting his. Something hard flickered there, something final. "I have to keep moving," she said. "I can't risk staying anywhere too long. If I lose control, if it gets out." He shook his head violently. No, you can't do this alone. You said we'd face it together." Her smile was sad, tender, devastating. "We will," she said, "but not here. Not like this." She took a step forward and pressed her forehead to his. Their breath mingled in the cold air, clouds of heat fading as fast as they appeared. "You're my anchor," she whispered, "but you have to be strong enough to let me go when it's time." Nathan's hands closed around her arms, trembling so hard they felt like they might splinter. "I can't lose you," he breathed. "Not again." Alina's eyes glimmered with tears. "You're not losing me," she said. "You're saving me." The cabin felt impossibly small then. The walls leaned inward, as if they were trying to listen to their last words. Nathan let out a strangled sob, burying his face into the crook of her neck. She wrapped her arms around him, holding him so tight he thought his ribs might crack. For a few minutes there was no curse, no monster, no endless road ahead, just them. Two human hearts crashing against each other like waves on a dark shore. Then she pulled away, gently but firmly. She grabbed a battered backpack from the corner and began stuffing in what little supplies she had left. A few protein bars, a half-empty water bottle, a knife with a chipped blade, a bundle of candles. Nathan watched helplessly, his body frozen by grief and terror. Finally, she stood at the door. Snow drifted inside, catching in her hair like tiny ghosts. She turned to look at him one last time. "Promise me," she said, her voice low but unyielding. "If I call for you, you'll come." Nathan nodded, a single shaky movement. "I promise." She smiled. It was the kind of smile that hurt to see, the kind that said goodbye without using the word. Then she stepped into the snow, closing the door behind her with a soft click. Nathan collapsed to his knees, staring at the door as though he might will it to open again. But it didn't. Outside, Elena trudged through the snow, each step sinking deep into the pale blanket. Her breath billowed out, a fragile thread against the vast sky. Inside her, the creature stirred, coiling like smoke in her lungs. But she pressed forward, every step a declaration. She wouldn't let it win. Not today, not while she still had a name. Elena didn't look back. She forced herself not to. Each time her foot sank into the snow, she imagined it swallowing her whole, dragging her under a white sea she'd never return from. But she kept moving. The forest loomed on the edge of her vision like a living thing, black and skeletal, its branches clawing at the sky. She pushed through the first line of trees, her breath hitching with every step. Behind her, Nathan's promise echoed in her head. "If I call for you, you'll come." She wanted to believe it. She needed to. But she also knew there were monsters inside her now. Monsters that could twist love into a weapon sharper than any knife. By midday, the wind cut at her face like 1,000 tiny razors. The sun was high but offered no warmth, just a pale, sterile light that seemed to mock her weakness. She stopped once to drink from her water bottle, the plastic crackling under her shaking fingers. In the distance, she heard it. A sound like a deep breath drawn through a hollow chest. The creature inside her responding to something, some silent signal, a siren's call only it could hear. Her knees buckled as the pressure behind her eyes grew. She pressed her palms against her skull, trying to hold it in. "No," she hissed through gritted teeth. "Not now, not yet." But the thing was awake, and it was hungry. Visions slammed into her mind like truck collisions. Flashes of clawed hands, mouths splitting open where there shouldn't be mouths, eyes rolling back into black pits. Blood. So much blood. She stumbled forward, her shoulders smashing into a tree. The bark scraped off in splinters that stuck to her jacket. She didn't stop to examine the cuts on her cheek or the blood dripping from her chin. Every breath felt like it might be her last free one. Finally, she reached a small clearing, a broken-down ranger station with windows boarded up and an old leaning sign that read, "River access, closed until further notice." She collapsed against the door, her body shaking so violently her teeth clacked together. Elena knew she couldn't keep running forever. She had to find a place to anchor herself before she lost all control. She kicked the door open, stumbling inside, the smell of mildew and rotting wood washing over her in a nauseating wave. She dropped her pack on the ground, falling to her knees. "Please," she begged the empty room. "Please don't take me yet." Her voice echoed off the walls like a funeral hymn. Then she heard a new sound, a creak. She looked up sharply. In the far corner of the station, a figure slowly rose from the shadows. A man. His coat was filthy, hair matted against his forehead. His eyes were sunken, as though they'd been hollowed out from the inside. But he was breathing, alive. Elena scrambled back, her hand groping for the knife in her belt. Who are you?" she gasped. The man tilted his head, studying her, like an animal deciding whether to pounce or flee. "I should ask you the same," he croaked. His voice was ragged. Each word sounded like it had to claw its way out of his throat. Elena's fingers closed around the knife handle, knuckles turning white. "Stay back," she warned, her voice cracking under the strain of holding the thing inside her. The man shuffled forward another step. "Don't worry," he said, almost smiling. "I'm not here to hurt you." But his eyes said otherwise. They were darting to her pack, to her hands, to the glint of the blade. Elena's vision began to blur at the edges. The thing inside her surged forward, sensing threat, tasting the potential for violence like a shark catching blood in the water. "Please," she tried again, voice breaking. "Don't come any closer." He ignored her. His fingers twitched at his sides. Then it happened. She felt it snap inside her, like a bone cracking under too much weight. A howl tore out of her throat, part scream, part roar, part something not human at all. The man froze, his eyes widened, horror dawning too late. Elena lunged forward, driven by the creature now puppeteering her limbs. The knife slashed once, twice. A bright spray of red splattered across the moldy walls. The man gurgled, staggered back, his hands rising to his throat. Blood pulsed between his fingers. Elena fell to her knees, her mind screaming inside a cage she no longer controlled. "No, no, no, no!" She watched helplessly as her own hands dragged the man's body across the floor, propped him against the wall like a grotesque doll. The creature inside her purred, feeding on the chaos and terror. For a moment, time stood still. Her chest heaved, her breath a harsh, ragged saw through her ribs. Then she felt it, a momentary window of clarity, like a thin crack of light breaking through storm clouds. She seized it. She dropped the knife, crawling away from the corpse. Tears blinded her. She pressed her forehead to the cold floorboards, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Somewhere, far beyond the station walls, she thought she heard Nathan's voice calling her name. Maybe it was real. Maybe it was her mind breaking open under the weight. She didn't know, but she clung to that echo with everything she had left. Outside, the wind began to howl through the trees, a chorus of ghosts joining her apology. Elena lay there, soaked in blood that wasn't hers, trembling, gasping. She didn't know how much longer she could fight, but she knew one thing. She had to keep moving, because if she stopped now, she wouldn't be Elena anymore. Elena staggered out of the ranger station just as the last rays of the sun bled out across the treetops. She didn't even feel the cold anymore. Her clothes were soaked in blood, his blood, and her breath fogged in front of her face in ragged, ghostly bursts. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Every branch, every drifting flake of snow watched her in perfect, ominous silence. She kept hearing Nathan's voice echo in her head, calling her name, over and over. "Elena!" But it wasn't just in her mind. She turned, squinting into the darkening woods, and there he was, Nathan, stumbling toward her, his flashlight beam slicing through the gloom like a sword. His face was pale, panic etched into every line, but his eyes still held that same fierce devotion. "Elena!" he yelled again, dropping the flashlight and running to her. When he reached her, he fell to his knees, his hands hovering over her arms, afraid to touch her, as if she were made of glass or something far more dangerous. "Elena," he whispered. "Oh God, what did they do to you?" She looked at him, her vision swimming. The creature inside her snarled, clawing at the inside of her skull, begging to take over again. I tried to stop it," she croaked. "Nathan, I'm losing it. I can't hold it back anymore." His hands finally closed around her shoulders. "You're here. You're still here with me. We can fight this. You don't have to do it alone." A sob tore from her chest, raw and jagged. "I already killed someone. I felt it, Nathan. It was me, but not me. And it felt..." She choked on the words, unable to admit the horrible truth that part of her had felt alive during the violence. Nathan shook his head, tears filling his eyes. "That wasn't you. That was the thing they put inside you. You're stronger than it, Elena. You have to be." But even as he said it, he could see it in her eyes, the war raging inside, the hunger growing too strong to contain. Elena fell forward against him, burying her face in his neck. She could hear the frantic drum of his pulse, smell his sweat and fear. Her nails dug into his back, almost drawing blood. Nathan held her tighter, rocking her slightly like a child. "You promised you'd come if I called," she murmured, her voice trembling. "I did," he whispered into her hair. "I'm here. I'm not leaving." But the creature inside her wasn't content with comfort. It wanted more. Elena's fingers curled into claws. Her breath turned shallow and rapid. She could feel the edges of her mind fraying, her thoughts splintering into static. Suddenly she shoved him back, stumbling away. "No, I can't! I can't control it!" she screamed, her voice echoing through the forest like a gunshot. Nathan rose, his face streaked with tears and horror. "Elena, don't do this, fight it! You can fight it!" But it was too late. Her body convulsed, her spine arching so sharply she thought it might snap. She let out a guttural roar, her face twisting, eyes rolling back, her mouth open wide enough to tear the skin at the corners, revealing too many teeth, black and jagged. Nathan took a cautious step forward. "Elena, I love you. Remember that. I love you." Somewhere, buried beneath the monstrous shrieks, his words sliced through, a thin thread of warmth. For a single, flickering heartbeat, she saw his face. The way he had looked at her the first time they met. The warmth, the goofy smile, the terrible jokes that only she laughed at. She forced herself forward, fighting every nerve, every tendon that screamed to kill. "Elena!" Nathan sobbed. "Please." She reached for him, her hand trembling violently, half human, half nightmare. And then, with a strangled cry, she grabbed the knife still strapped to her leg. Nathan's eyes went wide. He lunged forward, trying to stop her, but he was too late. Elena turned the blade on herself, driving it deep into her abdomen. A howl, not hers, not human, erupted from her throat as she dropped to her knees. Black ichor spilled from the wound, steaming in the frozen air. Nathan caught her before she collapsed fully, lowering her to the snow. Why, Elena?" he sobbed, his hands pressing against the wound, futilely trying to stop the flood. Her lips trembled, blood bubbling at the corners. I couldn't let it have you," she gasped. "I couldn't become that." Nathan pressed his forehead to hers, tears dripping onto her face. "You didn't have to do this alone," he whispered. A thin, trembling smile flickered across her face. "I wasn't alone. You came," she breathed. Her eyes fluttered, rolling toward the darkening sky. Nathan held her, rocking her gently, his voice breaking into wordless cries. The forest around them seemed to shudder, the trees creaking and groaning as though mourning with him. Then, finally, silence. Elena's hand went limp in his, her head tilting back. Nathan pulled her close, pressing a kiss to her forehead. In that cold, echoing quiet, he felt something shift, a strange, almost imperceptible warmth drift through the air, as if her spirit was slipping free. He didn't know if she would have called it salvation or damnation. All he knew was that she had chosen. Nathan sat there long after the stars came out, cradling her, whispering apologies and I love yous into the frozen night. When he finally rose, he looked out into the forest, vast and indifferent, and felt a cold resolve ignite in his chest. He would carry her story. He would make them pay. He would make sure she didn't die in vain. Thank you for staying with us until the very end of this haunting journey. Elena's story wasn't just about monsters in the dark or twisted experiments. It was about the strength of the human heart, the sacrifices we're willing to make for the people we love, and the terrifying line between who we are and what we could become. If this story moved you, made your heart race, or even left you questioning what it truly means to be human, then it did its job. We want to thank each and every one of you for your time, your open mind, and your courage to dive into the shadows with us. Stories like this one only come alive because of you, the listeners, the dreamers, the brave souls who refuse to look away. If you felt connected to Elena, or if Nathan's unwavering love struck a chord with you, share this video with someone who loves a good scare and an even better emotional punch. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us how this story made you feel. Your support helps us continue creating more deep, chilling, and unforgettable tales. Until next time, stay safe, hold your loved ones close, and remember, sometimes the real monsters aren't lurking in the woods. They're inside us, waiting. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next story.